Bum, bum, bum. Okay, Sam Tad. So, is YouTube up? It is. Should be. Is it not? Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, it's up. Carlos, it looks like some people are commenting in there. Since you are here, man, could you just look at that really quick for me as I get started? All right, so during these trade review sessions, we want to have any member or people from YouTube share their trades as a team, and we're going to look at them together to try to see how other people read the same charts that we see. That's for the viewer. And we'll get feedback from myself and any other moderator that might jump on and other people in the room, and we can compare and contrast trade ideas together. We don't always have a lot of people in our life where we can actually share our specific trades and insight and see how other new traders or experienced traders traded and exactly what they were looking for. And then we can all learn together. And we don't care about the share size. Sometimes we do, but usually we don't. We don't care about how much money you made or lost. We just care about learning what kind of trading occurred. Were they setups? What were the confirmations? What were the indicators? What was your strategy? Was it just a revenge trade? How do we get over the emotional issues? How likely is this setup to work out? How do you partial in? How do you partial out? Or how do you get in? How do you partial out? All of these things with the sole goal to improve our trading. That is the goal here. So we love that we can give you the avenue for that. So please send over your trades in the off topic. And I will get the screen share coming along. Dun-dun, dun-dun. There we go. You'll see my screen now. And JD always has great charts to, if anyone's brand new, so you can see a really good example. He uses his own charts. I also posted DOS desktop files for anyone who wants to download something like what I use, and a text document to go along with that. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Mole Man? Mole Man, that's nice. Blake and Jason. Okay. All right. So we got JD first, then Nigel. Thank you guys for coming. Where is what, Jay? So JD, are you here? Awesome. Oh, your DOS files. I'll get that link up in just a sec for you. So JD, the stock was dropping at the open and below the moving averages. Okay. I was going to go short right above when the third candle broke through view out, but waited for confirmation to break. Yeah. Popped up at the green and then rejected the daily price level and dropped below VWAP. Oof. Oof. So you're not worrying about these trades, right? You're just talking about this first one. Thanks, Carlos. Got it. So right, JD? Okay, JD, what stock were you trading? I know, right? And does that kind of... I can't quite tell. Did this break a new high? I can't see on this chart. Yes, just by the wick. So it broke the wick by 3 cents. What's up, ZZ Top? Right, so JD, I want to make sure I understand. Did it break the wick by 3 cents? Okay, got it. So, JD, this is a fantastic trade idea. First, we saw Andrew kill it on here. Took a similar type of short. JD, really great chart reading. Really great trade idea. I mean, it bounced up, hit all these moving averages on the 2-minute chart. It also had some moving averages there. There's no moving average support. Anything long, I could have talked a lot about how that might not have been a good idea. But going short here under VWAP, as this is making a 5-minute ORB down, putting your stop, we're going to talk about the stop at the end, but the entry is killer. The trade idea as a setup is killer. You're going with a lot of stuff in your favor. So here's the other thing where you have to be really careful, JD. You get stopped out right here by 3 cents, barely breaks, and then look at this. Okay, so right here, no new 1-minute high, barely 1-minute high, which is where you got caught. No new 1-minute high. No, maybe a new 1-minute high. Can't quite tell. Maybe by 1 cent, then no new 1-minute high. And along these lines, new 1-minute low, 1-minute low, no new low, no new low, new low, new low, new low, right? Little retracement on low volume, and then new low. So this is a great setup, great trade idea. And I don't even want to pretend that sometimes we can't put stops on the 1 minute, because look at any of these other levels where you wouldn't have been stopped out. Okay? You're so close to being perfect. So how can you avoid this? Number one, you can accept that, oof, if I take this trade 10 times, most likely it's going to work out and the winner can be huge. Okay, it'll work out 30 to 50% and the winner can be much bigger than my stop because I respect my stops. I can also understand that Roku at a very high price and the spread and the volatility in the beginning can easily be choppy, even though it didn't turn out to be very choppy in this trade, that giving it a little wider stop. So even though it could break a different level, where might a wider stop be to give it more room to breathe? Who can read the charts to tell me where is a wider stop that might give it more time to breathe? And something that we know that Andrew would teach. Yeah, JD, exactly. CSX, I'll just say CXX, JD, VWAP, 100% right. Now, JD, we also need to remember that we see things spike up to VWAP and then lose it all the time also. So you could find me a chart that say, well, I put it here and it still stopped me out, right? We never know what's going to happen. But the more room you give it to breathe, the more likely you're going to be correct in a good trade idea. And the tighter your stop is, even though the easier risk to reward is, it makes it harder and harder to be correct on a trade. So does all that make sense, JD? Awesome. This is a clean trade. Yeah, I mean, it's a good trade idea. It really is. It just barely didn't work out. Sometimes those are the toughest ones, when they just barely don't work out and we did almost everything exactly how we want to according to our plan. It's really good. Okay, so let me quickly get, for someone who asked for the spreadsheet right here. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, Blake. It's a really great trade idea. Andrew killed it. A lot of members in our chat killed it. JD almost killed it, being stopped out by just a couple cents. There you go. There's the trade review template improvement. There's the trade review template forum post right there, so you guys can go to that. Anyone who wants the DOS desktop files I created, it's right there. So Nigel. Ooh, Nigel used it. Okay, so Nigel actually used this perfectly, and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to do this right, Nigel, since you did this perfectly. Okay, setup name. 5-minute orb. 5-minute orb. 1 minute ascending triangle. Sorry. I don't really see that perfectly in the triangle, but unless it's this one. But okay. Setup grade, A for the orb, unsure for wedges. I'm new to these. Okay, yeah, I don't see it as a very good wedge. 5-minute orb, bearish 5-minute candle, lower volume on the pullback. Okay, lower volume on the pull. Actually, I gotta zoom out a little bit so we can see this. Well, this is nasty. Okay, so right here, note this, Nigel. Got it, Jay, thanks. Oh, that wedge. Oh, okay. It's 2 trades. Got it. I see. Okay, got it. Note this. The highest volume on the day on this type of candle, as a somewhat newer trader, I understand this might not mean a lot to you, but for me, boy, I don't like that. It's higher than the opening candle, man. That volume flooded in there, and that's a whole lot to see in the moment, but it is rare that the 5th candle, it's not a common thing when the 5th candle is the highest volume candle, and it looks like the buyers tried to step in. It closed bullish after being a little bit of an indecision, and it closed bullish right there. I don't like that. Okay, Nigel, it might not get me out of the trade completely, the trade idea completely, but boy, I don't like to trade against that. Okay. Lower volume on the pullback, reverse A, B, C, D. So you're saying A, B, C, D. I see that for sure. Harmonious chart, no moving averages on any of the time frames. Stop placement, view app for both. I'm skipping this one for now. Stop reason, both trades showed view app as supporters. There's an intended risk reward, 2-for-1 trade notes. Every other stock on my watch list moved cleanly today. CHW Chewy. Oh, is this Chewy? Is this the dog delivery business? The dog food? Oh no, I'm gonna look at the second. That's fun. I'm gonna look at the second trade in just a sec, and I just want to focus on the first one. Was garbage for my trading style and chopped me up quickly. Okay. So there's a couple things to note here, but traders from the room, what do you see? Do you guys see anything with his indicators and confirmations that this is not a good short idea from what you see? What's up, persistent? Okay, higher highs, but he's noting that it's lower volume and he's waiting for a pullback. But all right, fair enough. A higher high there. Jay thinks it's a good idea. Yeah, persistent, this is a trade review, yes. Anyone? The hammer on the 1 and the 2. I'm not sure which candle you're seeing as a hammer on the 1 and the 2. I don't see any hammers. Okay. So Nigel, what does that tell you about this trade? There you go. It's not an awful trade, man. Jay, you caught what I was going to say. I was waiting for someone, and I was just going to say that it wasn't an awful trade, but this is one thing to look at. And that's it. What is the ATR on Chewy? I don't know. But on a $29, $28 stock, with this gigantic candle, This is just more from experience, Nigel. I don't know what the ATR is on this. I don't know what the news, how bad the news might have been. But what I can tell you is that when something moves about $1.50 in the first 5 minutes in the $20 price range, the move could be over for quite a while. I could tell you that for sure, Nigel. That's just something that comes with intuition, realizing, dang, that candle's big. God, it's extended from the open. It's like, oof, that sell-off could have happened. And that's an intuition thing you're going to get from experience. And it could still go down $1, right? It still could. We never know what's going to happen. But just something to note in this trade, where if this was only a 30-cent move down to here, and it had a lot more room to move, having news, being in the 20 bucks, but only moving 30 cents, that'd be a lot more interesting. That's a huge sell-off. Yeah, exactly. And you don't need to know the ATR necessarily with just understanding, boy, $1.50 or so in the first minute or the first 5 minutes for a stock in this price range. I don't know the ATR, but that's a lot. That's a huge move. So good job noting that, Jay. That's a really good point, Jay. Nigel, does that make sense to you? Imagine the people who are in on the 1 minute and they're getting out when you're getting in. And you could say that about anything, but after it's already moved $1.50 or so at this price range, if this was Roku and it only moved $1, would anyone be not wanting to continue to short it and take it profit? It's like, no, that'd be a joke, right? But at this price range, it's just much different. So hopefully that gives you some good insight, but still, as you said, not an awful trade. Now for this one, we'll go quickly through this. Squeeze above VWAP, holding the 9 moving average, 3 touches at 26.68, breakout from 26.68, so 1, 2, 3. So I've been saying this for too long now, Nigel, that I'm not very familiar with the wedges and I need to learn more. So I'm not the expert at this, but it sure as heck, I see how you're describing it. 1, 2, 3, breakout. I think for a wedge like this, that's a fair trade. 5 minute, new 5 minute high. Okay? Just if you're looking at the 5 minutes. Now, what do you see, traders, that might disprove this trade idea and setup? And good, Nigel, it's good that you're practicing, because I can see things on this where it's like, okay, I don't see this as a wedge, but I sure as heck see something else. Okay, so T-Spanx failed to break above VWAP. It's breaking above VWAP, right? It broke above, retest, made a new high. I mean, that's not a bad signal right there. There's a bull flag, breaking the new high, in a new 5 minute high. Yeah, Nigel, I see that. The wedge is so tight on the 1 minute, I would not call that a wedge. So you think it needs to be spread out over a longer period? Okay. Noted. It is an indecision, but it looks fairly bullish on these charts, right? Look at this 5 minute. This isn't a doji. This isn't a doji. These are not dojis. What else do you guys see here? Okay, Jay. Right? It still hasn't. It's still way below the moving averages on the 5, and that's one reason I like to use these moving averages and see where they all are and trade with them. So still below the MAs. Art is talking about volume. Okay. Keep going. So I'm not going to give you guys this answer because when I figured this out for myself. If you're looking for short little moves on the 1 minute, then this doesn't apply. But if you're looking just for pure price action, this doesn't apply. Because you're willing to be wrong and you're only looking at certain things. But if you're trying to be a different type of trader, which isn't better or worse, just different, then there is clear information on this chart that no one has talked about yet. And when I figured this out, my trading improved drastically. So we might not get to any other trades until someone calls this out. Anyone from YouTube, if you can know, and I know it's kind of blurry probably, but what are we not seeing on this chart? JD, right? And it's not even lower highs. It's like, this looks interesting on the 1. And if you're a 1 minute trader, fine. Take that trade, you might be wrong. This looks interesting on the 2. This looks interesting on the 5. But does this look interesting? Does this look bullish to anyone on the 15-minute chart? Like, if you don't want the 15-minute chart, then this information isn't important. And I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying use the 1 and 5. You don't care about this. It's above VWAP. That's fine. Who thinks, I mean, because he went bullish right here. Do I have green? Can I actually do this? You went long about right there. Somewhere in there. On the 15-minute chart alone, does this look bullish, a bullish place at all? Right, you never know, JD, so that's why we need to combine all the information that you want to use. So, but at this place, if we just look at the 15-minute chart, does it look bullish? It doesn't look bullish here. And we know that it's the harmonious chart down, and when I want these reversal plays, I want them to have moving average support below, so other people who are wanting to trade off those moving averages have a reason to buy underneath. And there's no moving averages down there, first of all. We do know that. Now, note this. Here's your first sign of something on the 15-minute happening. So now you've got the larger time frame showing support. And this is even indecision. But right here, should be in red, but that is just, you can't get much cleaner than that. Yeah, you get a nasty little wick on that first candle, which I know a lot of you guys might not like. Exactly, David. David Furlano from YouTube. Sorry if I didn't look over and see that you said that first, but yeah. And so that's why I have the charts, the multiple time frames up. So I avoid taking a solid trade idea on the 1, 2, or 5 if it's going against a nasty trade idea on the higher time frames. It could still bounce. It could still go to the moon. It can always go to the moon. It takes a couple traders around the world to send this thing if they have any sort of volume. And then people pile on. Okay? But in this case, against a harmonious chart, against a nasty 15-minute trend, if I'm smart and I see that and I pause the market, I'm like, I'll let that trade go without me. If it works out, fine, but that's not my playbook. And again, Nigel, you don't have to look at the 15-minute chart. Andrew doesn't, and he kills it, and he is wrong. Wait, his first Roku trade was wrong. He went long, right? And he went straight into the moving averages. And I was thinking, oh, Andrew, don't do it, don't do it. You're going into the moving averages, man. This is one of the reasons I joined the team when I emailed you, don't trade into those nasty moving averages. And then he still sometimes does it and he kills it. But today, he went right into it, the one on the 2, I think. And then he switched his position and he let his winner become so much bigger than his loser. And he doesn't use the 15-minute chart. Yeah. Got it. So really, thanks for sharing that. Only know this from you, William. I'm a BB teamer, just not logged in. Got it, David. Got it. Well, I'm glad you were able to spot it. Jay wants me to only look at his second trade, I think. Is that right, Jay? Second picture, yeah. Second picture. Sorry, that's what I meant. First trade. I don't like red. I'll take this one. Gap down and was selling off at the last 10 minutes of pre-market. Went short on the pullback to view app. When saw 50 moving average curling down and knew if it holds, ADB is going to flush down again, but failed and got out. Risk, 50 SMA, reward, low of the day. So you're telling me this is your risk and this is your reward? Awesome. Okay. I see you're trying to do the view out bounce on the second bounce. If that's your risk and that's your reward, and I sure as heck see the trade idea, we see it happen all the time. I don't need to overanalyze that. If you can hold to this reward, though, that's the thing that you have to make sure you're not kidding yourself, Jay. That's why I want to see from now on, right? The intended versus the actual. If this is your reward, is that for the final 10%? Or is that your reward for an all-out? Or is that your first partial? Don't trick yourself into thinking this is your target when it's really like your final target. Okay, 80%, then that's valid. Love it. Okay, love it. Second trade. Second short was short below the 200 on the 1, but when I saw a lot of green on the tape and 50 cross 950, so this was a long setup now, so I got out with a small profit. Risk 200, not sure why it changed dotted line sometimes. Risk 200 SMA on the 1 dotted line. Where's the dotted moving average? I see the levels are dotted. But where is this dotted? Am I missing something? Okay, well, it's dotted before, right? Just from your experience, is it dotted somewhere back here and then it goes, and then it always solidifies? Correct? It's never solid and then it dots, correct? Well, not sure. Hold on. Is it ever solid and then it starts to get dotted? Or is it always dotted first and then solid? Since I said both of them, tell me which one. Dotted first then solid, or solid first then dotted? Oh, it switches. Okay. Switching is weird. I know if it dots first, it's because it doesn't have 200 data points to use, so it's doing its best before it's solid and it has 200 data points. That I'm certain of, because I've had that issue in the past and I learned what was happening. If it goes from solid to dotted, then I don't know. Well, it's the data points it's looking for. It's doing its best to calculate it, not on data point, without enough data points. Right, it's the data point issue. It doesn't have 200 data points to go back to. So you'll notice if you have a 50, the 50 will always be dotted before the 200. Okay, so, right, this is simply a tough place to go long. And, I mean, wait, you're going short. I mean, the short setup, right? Short, let me reread that. Second short below the 200, got out. Short, cover, short, not having it, short, holding VWAP. Right, so none of these trades are, all of these trades have some merit. I don't dislike any of them, and I see that you realized it and you got out with a small profit and you were right, so that's really good analysis. I see exactly what you were thinking. And then your third short below VWAP, below 50 on the M, bearish engulfing on the 5, got out as soon as it broke VWAP, right? Look at this thing, bearish engulfing. How is the volume? Don't see the volume. Let's see what the 15-minute candle would have been like. Would have been nasty like this. Then this candle would have been like this. And then this candle would have been like, oh, that candle would have been nasty too, and then it never broke. Yeah, that would have been like that, I guess. You know what, Jay? I can, what do you guys think? No, you don't need to, Jay. I just made it myself so I can see. You don't, it's not mandatory. But bearish engulfing crack, trying to lose VWAP. It's on, yeah, after this sell-off, come back down. You think it's going to sell off again. It broke the new 5-minute. It's under VWAP. I think it was a decent trade idea, Jay, and I've been seeing your recaps, and we're not going to have, we're not always going to have, we're not always going to end up making a right trade after 2, 3, 4 red trades. And as long as we're not doing horrible things like revenge trading, getting emotional, not taking setups, all of these are fairly valid. And on all of them, you're reevaluating them as well and making new decisions that are correct. So I could be nitpicky and say some things, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to pretend like now I can look at this chart and be like, well, then it's not valid because look at that. Like I could say, sure, if this made a new 5-minute low, that would have been a little more confirmation. But no, Jay, it's decent, man. I like what you're doing here. They're not always gonna work out, and you're doing great trying to take setups after your losers. Yeah, the second one was the one where it's like, I have the hardest time with that as a lot of things are looking for a long, but I don't need to say that because you realized it and you got out. So I like it, Jay. I really do. Okay, let me look at YouTube. Higher time frame, Senpro. William, you could also argue that the long wick on the 15 means the stock is being bought up, and so it's a bullish sign. You definitely could argue that for sure. The first short, no confirmation on the 5-minute Z-List. Not only that, but it's holding the moving average on the 1, yeah. The first short, no confirmation on the 5. Right, and he's not looking. So Z-List from YouTube, Jay, asks, no confirmation on the 5. But on your setup, you're not looking for confirmation on the 5, correct? This is a double VWAP bounce where you don't, your confirmation is the second bounce hitting and wanting to short it. Is that correct, Jay? Yeah. But Jay, talk about this. Even though you didn't have confirmation on the 5, part of your setup is you don't need confirmation. You're playing it off a VWAP bounce, thinking it's going to lose it, correct? Right, Z-List, and I'm wanting to make sure. Right, so the confirmation isn't on the 5, J-Lisk. I mean, Z-Lisk. It's not on the 5. He has his confirmation that it's below VWAP and the 50 on the 1-minute chart. And so, Jay, as you make a note in your playbook where don't change it yet, but just note within this, how often does it make a new 5-minute low? And then is that another confirmation I want to see in the future? Or after I've seen this 10 times looking at the 5-minute, it's not telling me the confirmation that I like, or it's making my entry extended. But just try to note that to see if you like extra confirmation and if that helps your trading. Yeah, so it's there's something to learn for the future to see if you want to adapt any new rules. And Anthony says he likes the third trade. I probably would have taken that also. Yeah, I agree. That's why I don't want to say anything. Like, I can see that it didn't work out, but it looks pretty bullish at that moment. I mean bearish. I meant bearish, so. I know, Jay, right? I agree. Yeah, just check it. Really great stuff there. Okay, let's see if we can get to another one. John Q. John Q. John Q, are you still here? Yeah, Jay, thanks for sharing, man. Keep the recaps coming. Oh no, it's kind of scrolled to the left. I can't read it. Is this still up? Can you resubmit it, John Q? If you can, resubmit it and I'll make sure I have time for it no matter how long. Thanks. Funny, Jay. I gotta find that out. Okay, Zen. So Zen, it's just gonna be hard for people to see when it's this big. I can zoom in, but the more I zoom in, actually it's fairly clear. I can try. Where is that? So, okay. So Zen and traders from YouTube, let's answer these questions. Why are there no... Oh, I don't get to see it. Darn it. I wanted to see the 15-minute chart. Darn it, Zen, next time try to make sure they're all aligned. So if you have all these charts, you've got all the arrows. Okay, so right here, about where Zen's starting to get in, type in 1 if you think this is bearish. Type in 2 if you think this is a bullish chart. 1 for bearish, 2 for bullish. And I can do this. We can't do this much in the chat when we spam stuff. So 1 for bearish, 2 for bullish. So Arthur, you think this looks bullish? 3 for undecided. That's fine. So Matt, why do you think this looks bullish? And look, about 95% of... Okay, 1 for bearish. 1 for bearish, 2 for bullish. 1 for bearish. So Matt, are you changing it to a 1? All right, Zen. So 95% of the traders and one person on YouTube put in 1, which means they're agreeing with you. It's bearish, okay? On the 5. I wish I could do this better. Knowing that the strategy is a descending triangle setup. Type in 1 if you think this is bearish on the 1. Type in 2 if you think it's bullish on the 1. 1 for bearish, 2 for bullish. Jonathan Yin, I could just say bearish to make it easier. Zen Pro, you said it looked bullish to you. Can you tell me why from YouTube? Okay, Zen, do you get where I'm going with this? What if we took trades where when everyone looked at the same chart that you did, everyone is agreeing with you, or 95% of the people are agreeing with you? You know what that means? Yes, and why? Why is it likely to go in the direction? And yes, and hopefully green trade, but at least it's a smart trade. Like-minded traders. Okay, got it. You're for bearish. Thanks, Senpro, Clarence, Senpro. Got it. Everybody sells. Right, and so now you're going along. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to trade the market and just go like get chopped up and try to beat the market? We're not trying to get chopped up because we're not trying to beat the market. We are trying to find the trades where everyone is seeing the same thing in a stock that's in play. Was this stock in play? Moleman, it is a bear flag. Yeah. Descending triangle, yes, definitely, Donovan. Okay, Zen, so you picked a stock that's in play. Did 95% of the people that looked at this chart with you think they picked the same direction as you? Yes, they did. So since it's in play and everyone's thinking the same thing, just off the top of my head without guaranteeing anything, that is a probability of being over 50%, and your winners should have a better expectancy than 2 to 1 on these type of setups because you'll get a big move in your direction. So I'm not going to go over your exits right now because I want to make sure to get to John Q's trade. But that's the type of trade we all want to be in, where everyone agrees that we're doing the thing that they would do. Those are the best trades. And if we had the 15-minute chart, I'm pretty sure it would look pretty bearish also. So really, really great, Zen, and that's the stuff we want to do. All right, thanks, John Q. You're just getting back from vacation and you're using this. Hopefully, hopefully it helps, and thank you. It helps us at least. Appreciate it. All right. Setup name Gapper above. Setup name Gapper above all the resistance momentum. Okay. Setup grade A+. Awesome. If you're trading A+ setup, that's a really great thing. Love that. I love whoever said to put in this line. I forget who it was. It might have been Peter. But whoever it was, really good idea. Little pre-market and opening profit taking. Because it gapped up, so just a little dip, no problem. Quickly bought back up into a tight range, okay. Break above the daily resistance. Don't see the daily chart, so can't look at that. Pull back from the 50 into the 9 moving average cross. So this must be the, I don't know which one's the 50 here. Is the orange the 50? I guess if it's my chart, the orange should be the 200. Red, okay, red, got it. So this is everything's starting to cross right here. Order stacking on the bid. So you're using the you're using the level 2, you're using the time and sales. Solid sold into strength as momentum slowed. Re-entered on a little pullback right here. Pullback. I'll go up. Stop placement first below VWAP. Second at... So the first stop is right below here. Second stop at the previous 121.23. Got it? So you had a wide stop on that second one. I'm leaning back in my chair. I got it. I'm just going to note the first one. I get that you shorted it too. But are you so were you waiting for the sell-off, John Q? In the beginning, you expected that might happen from your chart reading, and you were waiting for it to happen. Is that correct? The sell-off, and not even the sell-off, but the profit taking in the beginning. It's okay. But is that, it sounded, I want to make sure I'm reading this right. Was that expected? A big gap up on a high price stock that it might do a dip and a little bit of a profit taking that's not something that interests you for a short because you were waiting for it to happen and then for it to go up. Is that correct? Are you there? I wanted to make sure. Just want to... Are you still here, John? Can anyone hear me? Did it freeze? There you go. Okay, got it. Okay, John, so... Okay, it sounds like that's correct. Okay. Just wanted to hear that answer, because... Oh, you got bumped out. Got it. So, sorry, you're here. Is it true you were expecting the profit taking to happen? You weren't interested in a short. You were waiting to get a good long opportunity after the profit taking. Were you expecting it to play out like that and you were having patience to wait for your setup? Okay, so this is really important for everyone to note who's still watching on YouTube and any traders in the room. I don't know how well John Q did on all of his trades every given day. You know, I have no idea. But what I can tell you is this. When you're using an overall idea on how price action works in terms of a daily gap off, a daily gap up, and a sell-off, which is not a true sell-off, it's just a profit taking, and then waiting for a good long opportunity, that's a setup in itself. Okay? And then when you note that it's small opening profit taking, that's another part of the setup. Then you wait for a pullback after it breaks above a significant level like a moving average. Now there's a smaller time frame setup. Then when you start to look at the level 2 and the bid and ask and seeing how the orders are being stacked, there's another thing you could trade off of. Then if you start to see the tape flashing, I'm guessing that means it's flashing green. Is that correct, John? Are people hitting the ask? Is that what you waited for? Okay, so now he's using the time and sales of actual trades going through, being hit on the bid or being hit on the ask. Do you know how many indicators and confirmations that are? That's a lot. Oh, and sorry, John, I just saw this. This isn't a short and then a profit. I didn't see this one. I thought you reversed your position, but I see it now. You went long here off this, probably based off this 5 something. Right, Lexi? It's a green light for sure. Now, unfortunately, yeah, I get it now, John. But unfortunately, it's so easy in a trade review to see it and go through it slowly. In the moment, as your eyes are like scanning through all of those things on one chart, and then you have 2 other charts, and you just had a bad trade, and you're listening to our chat, and trading is really hard in general, that is an extremely hard thing to do. It's extremely hard. But it's not impossible. And we all know that most traders fail. And I guarantee you, if all of those traders that fail tried to learn to trade like this chart is showing from John Q, the failure rate would be far smaller. If this trade doesn't work out, really great idea, move on to the next one. But there's a really good chance this does, and there's a really good chance there's going to be a positive expectancy with everything going in your favor. So these are the type of trades that we want. Either when everyone's thinking the same thing, and or you have so many indicators and confirmations going in the same direction. People who don't share their trades during our chat, I could go into their computers and see they probably trade 1 minute micro movements and 1 minute reversals, and they're just trying to trade price action as a new trader and don't have an understanding of how all this works, because that's what gets most people. It does. So if you can get past that stage, which I know all of you guys who are here are trying to do, and you learn from all of this and these other traders who are finding success, not knowing if John Q is a successful trader or not, no idea. But if this is how he trades, he has a super great chance of being a long-term successful trader if all of his setups are like this. Right, trader, ask in the room tomorrow, and someone's going to have the answer. This ends at 6 o'clock. Or else I'd give you the answer, but I just want to make sure we finish this thought. So ask in the room tomorrow. So yeah, John Q. Really, really fantastic. How often are these your trades? Like, what percent of your trades are like this? With so many indicators and confirmations and so smart, so sticking to your plan. What percent of your trades are like this? I was gonna say, I was thinking if he says 100%, he's full of BS. So, thank you. Okay. Now, what percent of your trades would you want to be like this? And I'm not talking about if it's a winner or loser, just how smart of a setup it is. What percent of your trades would you want that to be? Okay. What's stopping you from going from 25 to 100%? And there is only one answer. No, Trader 237. That's definitely not what I'm saying. Nope, John Page, there's going to be a really, really kind of broad answer that I'm looking for. See if anyone can get it. But no. Why would I say that? If you saw the Mike Bellafiore interview we did, Andrew, we talked about different trading styles, and even Mike said, man, don't let anyone tell you anything. Like, if you're trading like that and you're finding success, do it. Because Andrew is built to trade how Andrew finds success in trading. Andrew would be bored out of his mind trading like someone like Mike Bellafiore might trade, where he buys and he holds and he waits for these long-term moves and he adds in. Andrew would not be a successful trader if he did that. Just like I tried to trade really, really fast moves in the open, and I can hit some, but I don't trade them for the same reasons that Andrew trades them. He sees different things, and his ability to process information off of the 1 minute is amazingly accurate and fast, where most of us have a very hard time doing that. So no, I don't think it's a good idea or a bad idea. I think it's an idea where you need to find if it suits your trading style, if that's something that you're especially good at, and then you go towards that that style of trading. Seamus, you got it. Yeah. 100%. It's you. There's nothing getting in your way. Don't blame. See, Alexi, and we're pretty much done here, but don't blame anyone else but yourself, or don't look for excuses, right? It's just us. I did this amazing interview, and I don't call my interviews amazing at all, but this one, I just talked with this guy from Australia who is, oh my god, I'm so excited. And he just said things, everything he said was just so good. He's like what makes a successful trader versus an unsuccessful trader is 16 inches or something like that, he said. And he's like 16 inches from ear to ear. That's what separates every trader. Every trader's looking for an edge. Well, it's just your mind. It's just you. You are your edge, right? It's kind of a broad way to think of it, but it's just so accurate. Chris Tate. Chris Tate from Trading Game. Maybe he said 16 centimeters, or he used some metric in Australia. Yeah, for sure. A lot of people find success with his trading style, Trader 237. Carlos kills it a lot of time. I mean, I don't want to speak for Carlos, but at least in the past, when I was more familiar with Carlos's trading, he was killing it trading so much like Andrew. So I just haven't seen his trades as much recently. But a lot of traders go to that style and they find huge success. And a lot try that style and they don't, and they have to move on. Right? You just got to try these different things and study it and then pick it and learn all the intricacies and execute it. Yes, definitely. Wow, that's fun, Jay. That's different for every person, right? At least like a certain number of trades. At least if it gets you. Like I was just mentoring with someone today, and he this is the last thing that I'm gonna go. I was just mentoring someone today, and he has trades where he gets in 100% in a single trade. I mean, with a single entry, and whether he wins or loses on that trade idea never causes him to break a rule. Okay, but then he also does a strategy where he'll average in to a trade or scale into a trade, and sometimes he makes good money doing that, but that style of entering into a position as a strategy causes him to have blow up trades and blow up days. Let's not, no, you don't know him, ZZ Top, there's no way you know this person. And so thus, I don't need to see him take 20 trades or do this for days, weeks, or months. We know that is a behavior that leads to you blowing up. You've already proven that that's a behavior and a strategy that even though you make good money so you want to do it, it leads to way more harm than good. That strategy needs to be completely removed from your playbook. You need to learn to avoid things that cause you that type of psychological and financial damage. Even though you think it can make you money over time, it's like, no, that's your blow up strategy, man. Take it out of your playbook, do your other things. So it varies with a lot of different things, Blake. Thanks, guys, for helping in the off topic for the trader that's looking at that. Appreciate that. All right, guys, thanks for participating in the trade review. Thank you, Jay. See ya, everyone, tomorrow morning in the chat. Catch you later, and see ya, YouTube.